Right, I'm just getting a cup of tea, and then I'll be with you. It'll be about a couple of minutes. Oh, let me post out that I'm streaming. Me. Perfect. Probably perfect anyway. Ugh. Oh, my whole room smells of meat. Hi. Ah! Let's pop out chat. Hello, hello. Let's make my face happen. Let's double check to make sure Zin's not in here. Do that. Hi. How's everyone doing? Oh, I haven't updated donation stuff. I'm the worst. I hope everyone is doing well and sane in lockdown. UK is going back into a semi-lockdown. So hopefully any of you that are in the UK or in other places where lockdown happen, that you are able to stay sane and it's not too much of a burden on you, or your loved ones and your friends. Jaden Cattrall, thank you so much for the sub. Very much appreciated. I am pretty exhausted at the moment. I went out last night to a restaurant, wearing a mask, and everyone there was wearing masks. This is very, very nice. I'm a ghost. Let me sort this out first. I didn't realise how ghostly I was. An apparition. Do the scene. And then we'll do this. Gain up a little bit. And then I can apply that. And then as a filter, we will lower this a bit. Oh no. 260? Is that going to be okay? And you can see behind me. It's not what I want. Filters. No, that's no filter there. No, that's wrong. No, this one. It's my I'm fixing it face. That make me a ghost again? I'm a ghost. Woo! Oh, I know. Will this help? Don't you dare spill my cup of tea. Don't you dare spill my cup. No! Oh god. This is fine. This is fine. This is professional. This is... No, don't do that. Ah, I'm blind. No, no, no. Oh, no. Oh, ow. No, don't point in the wrong direction. How's that? Now I've got a shiny head. I think my legs are stuck. Look, I'm not sure how adequate as a human being I am today. I'd put myself in a low tier human. I think I might have to deal with a shinier head than normal. Like, look how shiny that noggin is. Right. Let me lower the volume slightly of the music. Lovely Petra Camacho. Alright. Yes, how's everyone? I got a shiny head.
4 months. Thanks for all your hard work. All your content is very informative. Keep it up.
Thank you very much, Bearded Miner. Very much appreciated. I appreciate the sub. Thank you. And I appreciate you think I do hard work. It's very much being put onto Zin at the moment. So this month I employed an editor. She started with me full time, but is in the process of learning and gearing up for 3.11 content. So it's actually meant that I've been overall less effective output-wise for videos. So I've sort of like been putting as much of the workflow towards her as possible so that she can know what I want editing-wise. She can evolve a bit with the editing stuff. And you should have noticed that a lot of the videos this month were edited by her. A good sort of like, I don't know, 40% of them. And you shouldn't be able to notice the fact that the B-roll is better and they've edited better and they should look a lot bit better and they've been proofread and sometimes they've got Molly's voice, which is actually Zin's voice in them. So lots of improvements, hopefully, that you've noticed to the videos. But overall, I've actually produced less. But that, I'm hoping that from next week onwards, we're about to get an extra video out than I would normally and things like that. Because we are pushing now into 3.11, should be going to first wave PTU. So we had the last inside Star Citizen until the, I think, 22nd of October now. And yeah, that's interesting because I'm always very much against Cloud Imperium having a break with their Inside Star Citizen series. I think they should keep it going. We're still waiting on the updated roadmap, and I'm not talking about general roadmap updates that we get every week. I'm talking about the roadmap that they've said they're going to give us, which will have sprints on it and much more detailed roadmap information on each individual feature for not just the persistent universe, but for Squadron 42 as well. So that should be coming pretty soon, and I think that's one of the more important things that we should be looking toward, and all that sort of jazz. So 3.11, quite a light patch. A lot of features got pushed back and removed. However, it's got a huge amount of extra bits that they sort of like tacked on and have only recently informed us about. So that's missile and countermeasure changes. That's the changing of armistice zones. So now that you can actually fire ship weapons in an armistice zone. And there's big turrets that defend armistice zones. So like the station ones. So there's some cool stuff with that. Some heat-driven crime system stuff as well. So that'll be interesting. We should be able to assault a space station now and get a load of security and turn up, and it be quite an interesting fight. So I'm looking forward to organising some stuff like that. I'm interested to see how that plays out. If stations get relatively locked down, how frustrating that could be for players that are stuck there. But maybe security forces and other players will be able to dislodge them pretty quickly, and you'll be able to join the fight. My worry with that is that I'm locked down at, say, Port Tressler, with a load of people constantly fighting there. Well, I can't get off the landing pad because they destroy me every time I spawn my ship or whatever. How do I get involved in that fight? I can't. I want to be able to respawn elsewhere and then come back to deal with that blockade with other people as well. Do you see what I mean? Thank you very much for all the kind words. Very much appreciated. I can see a lot of people saying, "I love you. You're the best. Are you and Super Mac Brothers are best." Zinc is real host. Zinc is real host. All praise Zinc. So yeah, there's a load of good content creators out there, and I'm hoping that we get some even more dedicated ones over the next couple of years. I'm hoping that we see Squadron 42 within the next year. That would be nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, so yeah, 3.11. It's got some relatively good stuff in it. The cargo decks are interesting and new area for space stations, along with a bit of a rejig of space stations, obviously to fit them in. There's not a huge amount of gameplay. Well, there's not really much new gameplay associated with them, shall we say, beyond the actual location. But it is phasing the cargo sort of like elements of gameplay into those areas, and then later there should be, hopefully with 3.12, some bigger additions to gameplay for those. I was hoping for more for the initial release, and unless they're going to surprise us, I don't think there will be much. But yeah, it was nice to see Chris Roberts come back to the fray as well. Him doing Ask the Chairman, or ask the Chairman one question, and I hope he realises that he needs to be a bit more interactive with the community like that. But other devs, Molly and Chad McKinney and all that sort of lot, they have been so receptive in posting these sort of like other updates that were going on with 3.11, the missile changes, the law changes, the armistice changes, a load of other bits that are going into the game, answering a load of questions on a huge range of topics and subjects. These devs now really getting involved in the community, so that's genuinely a good thing. So yeah, I'm not going to be on too long today because I am absolutely shattered, as I said. Is there an update on docking at all? So they've been working on docking, as we've seen relatively recently, with them actually doing docking collars that come out and stuff. So that was going through just past the prototyping phase. And we know that they've been working on parasite docking for the Constellation. And we actually saw an early semi-automated process for that dock undock. So I think we could have that parasite docking for 3.12. I'm hoping that we have some form of docking for 3.12, although it looks to me like docking will be more like a Q1 2021 thing now. If you'd like to ask a question in brackets will allow me to pick it out from the sort of list. The thing I'm looking at, the words. Oh, I'm slightly hungover. Slightly. I drank about 100 quid's worth of wine last night. It was nice. It was good wine. Ennio took me out for his birthday. He's one of my mods and one of the Spanish content creators. I was down in Southampton. He was like, "You still coming out?" And he said, "I was, oh yeah, I did say I would come out. I have to be careful though." So we all geared up and we went to a really nice restaurant called Blue Jasmine, which is got really good reviews. It's supposed to be near Michelin star quality. Nice Asian food and fusion Asian, I suppose. And they are top notch with COVID sort of protections. So there's hand sprays everywhere. They keep parties a whole table between each sort of group, and everyone's wearing face masks and it's super cleanly, and it was nice. It was good. It was good to get out of the house because it's sort of like the first time I've been out of the house properly in months. Going a little mad, a little stir crazy. But I think the social responsibility of actively not trying to infect people is one that we should all try and attain. Will 3.11 bring with it a selection of chutneys? I don't believe so. I mean, I can't speak of the 3.11 EVOCATI patch, really, but I'm not aware of any chutney. My name is pronounced Jujinkai. Jujinkai? I'm looking forward to the change to safe zones and the escalation process. What are your thoughts on how this might play out? So, yeah, this is the most exciting change for me now in 3.11. Obviously, I'm really looking forward to the Mercury Star Runner, but that's not going to be in the initial 3.11 build. That's going to come in slightly afterwards in a 3.11.x build, so hopefully 3.11.1. So, those safe zones, it's not all safe zones, I don't believe. I believe it's just the rest stops and space station safe zones. Although I don't actually know what their plans are for ground-based locations with that at the moment. Like, are they going to push this over to Lorville and places like that? Because that's a maybe as well. I haven't actually even thought about that. I certainly haven't tested it. But around space stations, they've got new turrets. So new defense turrets up to size 10 apparently. That are destructible. So that's cool. You can fire your weapons in a safe zone, but locking onto someone with like a missile or whatever, locking onto someone that's going to make you hostile to them, and they can engage you as if you're hostile without getting a criminal rating themselves. So that's a good thing. So, there's also a load of security there as well, not just these turrets. Security will turn up if fighting occurs, and that will get. There's like a heat system now, so as there's more criminals in an area with a higher overall criminal rating, more difficult and more ships will turn up to try and counteract that. And I think that could play out, especially when semi-planned by a group. You could probably lock down stations with some big capital ships for a while, but I would expect them to then be dislodged by other players. You could probably have reasonably big fleet battles. By having the security just keep on turning up. It's certainly going to be good looking for content, for sure. Really, I want more gameplay and content to go along with that. so that there's more reasons to go into those zones, to attack people or to defend yourself there, to bounty hunt there, whatever. Do you see what I mean? Because at the moment it's sort of like, that's cool, and I can see where it's going, but we need slightly more content. There needs to be missions associated with attacking a space station and defending one and things like that as well. That would be great, yeah? So no confirmed release dates for 3.11 yet. I'm expecting first wave PTU within days, hopefully this weekend. But if not, then within the next few days, almost certainly for first wave PTU. Live release date for 3.11. It looks like they're trying to push for the 10th of October, where CitizenCon was supposed to be this year, but obviously has been cancelled, and there's going to be some form of event going on the 10th. Yeah, my room, I had a mixed grill for lunch, because, you know, I was a bit hungover. Yeah, old man grunting noises do mark my arrival when I start the stream. That is true. I still have the free fly ships. Do you know why? It was meant to end 2 days ago. Don't question it. Just go with it. Why 2 3080s? No SLI this generation. Good question, Joshua. It's one for me and one for my editor. So we can both record at high frame rate 4K is the idea. It's not Morphologist gently kissing my neck, although I might change it to different content creators. It's a cheeky little Chris. Just making sure I don't break NDAs. Yes, I'm glad people like my Thomas the Tank t-shirt. Yeah, I'm ready for the Star Runner as well. I like, and so a 3 point. So they've already got a 3.11 patch planned, a 3.11.x patch planned. I wonder if there's going to be anything else other than bug fixes and the Mercury Star Runner in there. JG, thank you very much for the donation. Very much appreciated, sir. Lisa, why does my ship suddenly fly off without me, leaving me kicking space dust in the middle of nowhere? Floorboard, someone's stealing it? Is it extra windy where you are? Does your ship hate you? These are all questions that you might need to answer. What landing pad is it, or is it on all landing pads for you? Where can we will see the Polaris anytime soon? I think we'll see updates to the Polaris. I don't think we'll see it in game anytime soon. I think it's at least like 3 patches out. Do you know what kind of vehicles beside the Rock we're able to swap cargo out of in 3.11? So there's going to be lots of vehicles you will be able to eventually. As far as I'm aware, it's only the Rock, although obviously other cars like the Tumble Cyclone, they do have cargo space. I think that will be added. I haven't actually tested it with a huge amount of stuff yet. Yeah, so this is video of the sort of demo stuff at CitizenCon 2019. Most of which we have now, but not everything. Obviously, we don't have the pyro system yet, which I'm hoping we get some of by the end of this year. And obviously, what they showed at the pyro system in here is not really the pyro system. They showed a jump point sort of prototype in progress, and then an empty system that you jumped into with a star. So it wasn't a real thing. C2 Hercules when? I would expect the C2 Hercules, and in fact put money on it, being by the end of this year. It very much looks like they've been working towards that as part of the Crusader pipeline of ships. C2 Hercules almost certainly that Starlifter by the end of this year for 3.12. How am I feeling today? I'm feeling slightly tired. Has Zin finished the Talking Pico to match your Talking Chris yet? Let me answer you with an image. What is the Talking? The media source. Is Talking Chris a media source? We assume Talking Chris is a media source. Yeah, he is a media source. Add new source. So I'm going to call it Talking Pico. 1 second. This is a surprise. Yeah, I wonder if you can guess what it is. I'm going to call it Talking Pico. Okay. Let's hope this. Okay. Hey! Oh, I need to make it loop. Don't know. Properties. Loop. Hey! I'm Pico! You should watch BoredGamer! Yeah! BoredGamer's cool! But yeah, since finished the Talking Pico. And I'll probably use it slightly more effectively in the future. We'll be improving the channel as we go on. I'm the worst. Hey chat, those that wish to ask a question, but question in brackets. That is correct. That is sync. When do you think we will see VIP or any kind of passenger transport with ships like the 600i and 890? At least with cargo ships you can haul cargo, but with the towing ones you can't haul AI peeps. So you should be able to haul AI NPCs as cargo in the future. I'm not just talking about through putting them in prisoner pods or as prisoners or anything. There should be VIP transport like with the Genesis. That will actually be people transport. And we're expecting that the 600i and the 890 jump will have sort of like VIP small amounts of people transport that you'll be able to do as a mission and sort of go around a tour route or something, keeping the people safe there. So we don't know when that's coming. Expect after they've solved a lot more of the AI sort of issues, problems, and made a lot more progress in the AI tech. I mean, they haven't even added the AI blades to have ship turrets controlled by these AI systems, which I would expect to be the first step in it towards that. Because then you've got that, then you've really got like NPCs as wingmen and as part of missions that will turn up and be around planets and that sort of stuff more often. Because they sort of semi-work in FPS AI. They work sort of. They're very derpy at the moment, but that's partly due to the servers issues. But they sort of work in modular design, preset station and prefab areas. So like the underground bunkers and security base Korea, places like that. And like landing zones and stuff where they don't have to worry about the changing of ground. It's very artist-driven rather than any form of procedural generation. So they need to expand that out so that you can have them running around all ships, moving between ships and the ground, and all this sort of jazz. So that's quite far off. The VIP transport missions is what I'm trying to say. How stable is 3.11 bin? Can you answer that? Stable enough for me to say that I'm expecting it to go to first wave PTU very soon, but nothing. I can't say anything beyond that. Obviously, I can't talk about the particulars of a EVOCATI patch. I'm a little ghost-like today. So I had a new camera all set up. Well, I had my Canon camera all set up to the other day to set of my C920, C922. So okay, actually, let's go through this. I had a C920 years ago. I went, I'm gonna upgrade this to a Brio. I also somehow got a C922, but it's basically a C920, whatever. I have this Logitech webcam for streaming and for my face wipe in Star Citizen. And then I was like upgraded to a Brio, and it was like, oh, the Brio doesn't look as good. But then I just sort of forgot about that. And I've been streaming with a terrible look. I mean, I look terrible, but sort of quite fuzzy. And then I changed back over to this C922, and it looks significantly, a magnitude better. But better than that would be to use a proper camera like my Canon D600, and actually be just using that as a webcam, because that would look much better. So I got all set up. It was all working very briefly, and then the camera broke. So I've gone back to this one, but I'll get it sorted. Got a spare. Well, it was we'll be putting a proper camera on. Soon you'll be able to see me in higher detail. That's all I'm saying. I'm bad with words today. I'm so sorry. I have to deal with me sort of like ranting poorly, rather than sort of like murmuring, mumbling. Do you think we'll see any major news for settlements at CitizenCon, or whatever they have planned instead? I think we'll, yeah, potentially see by the end of this year. I'm not sure if it's going to be their plans for whatever they got on the 10th of October, or just generally a little bit later. I think we'll see more on homesteads. They do seem to be a focus, more points of interest. Homesteads, Pyro System, that all seems to be quite a big focus for CIG at the moment. Do you think we'll see Who Stole My Mission stuff? My stuff mission? Who stole my stuff missions now that we can assault stations? Oh, I see what you mean. There's limited content in 3.11. I'm hoping they add stuff like that very soon. I want to see King of the Hill style missions. I want to see assault style missions where you're assaulting an area, holding an area, waves of, like, almost like Vandal Swarm or Pirate Swarm, but you're holding a ground installation or a station, with all that entails. That would be so fun. That would be so fun. Oh, CIG, come on, make it happen. You can make it happen. Do you think they'll bring a capital ship with docking? So, expect to see, in the not too distant future, the Idris and potentially other capital ships, like the Javelin, potentially in NPC hands as part of missions that we'll be assaulting or defending or whatever. Obviously, we know that they can do that. They've been working on that. They wanted to put it in the Arlington Gang mission, which we were supposed to have earlier this year with an Idris. And then they took it away because it wasn't ready. But then we saw during Fleet Week in May that they had this sort of like the Idris, and it sort of worked to an extent. Wasn't great for combat. It was a bit derpy, very derpy. But there should have been quite a lot of improvements since then as well. So DirectX 12 and Vulkan. So it doesn't look like CIG are going the route of DirectX 12. The Star Citizen currently uses DirectX 11. They said they're working on this Gen 12 renderer stuff, which is a load of improvements graphically for Star Citizen, and scalability and like making the processor, your CPU super multi-threaded, making it use multiple threads, is what I should say. But also Vulkan integration is part of that as well, and they look to be moving entirely over to Vulkan. So I would expect and hope that they're trying to get Vulkan integration in by the end of this year, and that would be DirectX 11 and Vulkan. And then they're moving, after a few patches, entirely over to Vulkan. I believe that's still the plan. Me and Zin will be playing Star Wars Squadrons. We're getting that. And other stuff I will be covering on the channel for sure is Elite Dangerous, especially Odyssey. Potentially, occasionally, No Man's Sky. But No Man's Sky doesn't hold my attention for very long. I sort of play it for a bit and go, hasn't got the sort of economy and the competitiveness that I want. I want some form of competition and economy and much more meaningful PvE. Like it feels like at least to me, and feel free to disagree, that it's very forgiving, No Man's Sky, and it's sort of like very chill. And I'm okay with chill games sometimes, but I want a mixture of chill and extreme anxiety, stress. Sometimes I like Rust, where there's downtime and toil, sort of like you build towards a goal, yeah, and then you have those when you want to go on a mission, when you want to go and assault the base, you can do that, and it's high intensity. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And I want that with Star Citizen missions and gearing up and that sort of stuff. Also, I desperately want elements of, lots of elements of Eve in Star Citizen, like with loadouts. I want to really, really try and spend hours looking at min-maxing a loadout for a particular mission type and things like that, going, this was my preferred loadout for this very specific thing to do. I love that in Eve. Oh! On the topic of new missions, do you think we'll see any new voiced missions like older missions, the Private Investigator Wanted, and the old Commoray missions with Tessa Bannister around the new planets? You will see new mission givers, and you will see new audio missions in the future, yes. And a mixture of the two. So there's going to be a mixture of just text missions, audio and text missions, mission giver missions, all that sort of chucked in, and some of that will be part of the more dynamic universe simulation stuff, whereas others will be more focused, like especially the mission giver ones, more focused to sort of theme park ride aspects and that sort of jazz. Do we know when the 2020 Ship Showdown skins are released? I believe for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo in November. In fact, let's have a read about what Cloud Imperium have actually said on the Ship Showdown. Win a crown. So, as many of us expected, as soon as I realised the Carrack was actually in the Ship Showdown, for some reason didn't twig when I very first early talked about the Ship Showdown. I was like, it would be the same one as last year. Forgetting that the Carrack was here, and also forgetting how they did the brackets. The brackets... so they sort of just randomly decided what ships were going to go out in its single elimination. So, like the Caterpillar went out pretty early on because it went up against the Carrack in round 2. But if it hadn't gone up against the Carrack, I would have expected it probably to get to the final. So the finals were the Carrack versus the Valkyrie. And I actually expected the Cutlass Black to beat the Valkyrie. Would have expected it to be very close. Oh no, the Valkyrie got a load more. I would have thought it would have been much closer than that. How weird. Maybe not weird. Maybe we would just prefer the Valkyrie. So yeah, the Carrack's the winner. But they said some bits and bobs about what we're getting with those top 4 ships. So the final 4 ships were the Anvil Carrack, the Anvil Valkyrie, the Aegis Eclipse, and the Drake Cutlass Black. Owners of those 4 ships that made it into the semi-finals will get a free limited edition ship livery and themed t-shirt for their character. So, a ship skin, if you own one of those ships. If you own multiples of those ships, then you'll get one for each of the ships that you own from those 4. And you'll get a themed t-shirt for your character for each of those ships that you own. These will be revealed in November at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. So, end of November, 23rd of November, as typically-ish when the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo lands. It's sort of like a big version of Fleet Week. So, obviously Fleet Week was the first time they did Fleet Week properly. But expect it to be Fleet Week plus. That's my expectation there. The Anvil Carrack, the ultimate winner, also is going to have a officially licensed in-game helmet available for all backers, not just people that have a Carrack. Every single person, I believe, that attends the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo gets that helmet. So that'd be cool, because I've got a Carrack, and I hopefully get a cool exploration helmet for free. It's pretty cool. Obviously, the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo is quite big, but the Ship Showdown was a very mini event. The free fly, I hope they got enough data to confirm that, well, enough data to help them to make sure that when they have the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, the servers do not implode, because this was a very, very, very minor free fly event. People could try out for free, but it was not hyped. It's not big like the Fleet Week was. And because of that, we didn't seem to have many server problems, especially not more server problems than normal. But Fleet Week, that was bad server-wise for new players and old players alike. Like not being able to log on, constantly getting disconnected. That was terrible. So hopefully CIG have got that sorted now. What else have we got here? So yeah, there's going to be lots of polls coming from Twitter and my Discord and on the YouTube community stuff, asking what you want to see next, because I'll sort of prioritise Zin's time based on what people want to see for 3.11 content. Yeah. So sort of bear that in mind. I do want people to have a bit of a influence on the channel. What do you think will be in Orison? Derpy Well statues. It's going to be like a standard landing zone. We know that they're going to have Batista and the Gibson Batista. They're going to have the sort of like outreach security lawful mission office for Crusader security, which is probably the first lawful good set of missions, as it were, that we're going to have in Star Citizen. Like true lawful good, if you see what I mean, as mission givers anyway. I think it's just going to be a nice looking area, and obviously they'll have like a ship shop and stuff like that there. Eventually you'll be able to buy much larger ships from Orison, because there's a shipyard there, things like that. I appreciate you being here, JBMX and other mods. Do you think missions will be given at cargo decks, like go retrieve 1,000 SU of Laranite and deliver it to Everest cargo deck? So in 3.11, expect there to be the standard cargo missions and have cargo decks sometimes as the place where they start or end. Yeah, so just another location where you can have those cargo missions. Eventually, yes, I would expect to see freight missions and lots of different types of cargo mission and escort missions and that sort of stuff given out from cargo decks as well. How long does it typically take to go from concept to finish ship? It vastly changes based on the ship, based on what they're doing with it, based on pauses. So the old style of doing stuff was they had a concept phase for ships, and then they'd be a huge pause. They'd prioritise certain ships, and they'd work on some ships and all others. So you have some ships, some of the earlier ships, they're still not made. So you've like 8 years later, they're still not made. But the newer way of doing it is they've got much more refined pipelines, which they can get a ship out, I think as early as like 4 to 5 months sort of thing for vehicles, for the smaller things, if they've already got a refined pipeline. But I mean, typically it's quite a while. It's at least a couple of quarters after they finished the concept phase for smaller ships. But I think that might speed up somewhat, but a lot of it is getting the assets and the style of each individual manufacturer done, and then they can kit bash quite a lot. So they've got all the assets done for this sort of like for other ships within that sort of manufacturer. Do you think the M2 and the A2 will be released together? I think it will probably just be the C2 first, and then. Yeah, then I would expect the M2 and the A2 probably to be released together a little bit later, yeah. That makes sense. Will the jukebox ever get finished? So I'm interested to know what they're going to do with the jukebox. So yes, but I'm not sure what its implementation will be, because obviously it used to be able to play music. Will it be in-game music now? What what style of hair products do I use? Razor. I wish I had luscious locks. Oh. Serious question now. What features are not currently listed on the roadmap do you think we'll get for Q4 patch? So, ones I'm hoping for, and some of which I would expect, but not all. iCache. Lots more network updates. Physicalized components. Physical inventory. The Hercules C2. Lots of different missions. Some little bits towards dynamic economy. So whether that's generation of stuff or not, I'm not entirely sure what they'd be pushing. And hopefully the some of the pyro system, so jump point and pyro. I'd love it if they expanded server caps and stuff like that as well. Sort of have to wait and see, I think. Theatres of War as well, I'd expect. Theatres of War probably to be in our hands to some extent, even if it's just EVOCATI by the end of the year in a more permanent state, testing it. I know they want to get sort of Theatres of War right. That they're doing a lot of work with it with internal testing, and I think they're shying away from the EVOCATI and public tests at the moment because they need to put the updates from 3.11 in before they even filter tested again. But maybe next month, maybe not end of October or something. We'll see some more tests with Theatres of War. I'll poke CIG about a statement on that. Will inventories be reliable after the rework so we can equip and dequip things without having to go to our inventories and manually save? I think once we have iCache in, that will have much more reliable inventory sort of management, as it were. It doesn't like ping bits off. Do you think we will see any major news for settlements at CitizenCon? Or whatever they've got planned instead. As I said, I think this year we'll see more on homesteads, settlements, and points of interest. Seeing Pyro is abandoned. It's not entirely abandoned. It's piratey. You're cool, Board. Thanks. I appreciate the light. Jaybird, this is to have you wear the jacket for 5 minutes, please. I don't even know where the jacket is. Tell you what, Jaybird. I'll dig it out for you for Monday. And if you're not here on Monday, I'll do a little special video, okay? With the jacket on. I don't know where it is. I'm pretty rough at the moment. I'm not going to go look for it. Do appreciate the money though, thank you. I take it as payment. You've prepaid. Wants me to wear a silly Napoleonic jacket. What do you think about the current prices of ships in-game? Well, it makes sense for a ship to be quite expensive. The in-game pricing seems unfair because they want you to buy more ships IRL. Okay, so in fact, lots of ships are rentable and lots of ships, almost every ship is purchasable now. That's great. And I wouldn't say they're that expensive, to be honest. Like, once you leverage using ships in between to make more money, you can make money pretty quickly. Or at least over a long period of time, you can make that money. And you've got to remember, like, is 3.11 going to have a database reset? Hopefully not. Because they've got this long-term persistence now where they're not resetting every major patch, that's pretty good, and you can save up for those ships. And I mean, when the game's out live, I want those ships to be a lot more. I can see an argument, a reasonable argument for making them cheaper in the short term so people can test them. Do you think someday we can fly in the trenches of ArcCorp with traffic lights and NPCs driving around? I think we'll be able to get closer to the ground, and I think there'll be some more set PC areas that will feel pretty cool trench-wise that we'll be able to get really close to. I'm interested to see what they do with flying very close to these city planets, though. Worth getting an Endeavour for the Hope class. If you want hospital-styled gameplay, yes. I heard rumours that they're going to wipe everyone's ships and money and give everyone 15 million. Have you heard this as well? So, in the PTU tests, sometimes they give everyone 15 million to test with. That's... CIG are not going to wipe everyone's ships they bought with real money, for sure. When the game... At some point, the game will have a final reset, and that will reset everyone's stuff that they've earned in-game. Yeah? And then it will be live. But you'll have your ships that you've bought there, and if they give you anything else as well, it will be in addition to that. Roadmap when? Why is it taking so long to knock out a web page? It's because it's not just a web page for them. It's a sort of like... It's a way of conveying data and a marketing campaign that goes along with that. Because that's what it is. It's not just we're showing you data better. They're tying it to their databases better. They're displaying sprints of what all these different teams are working on. So there needs to be quite a lot going in there. They're building basically a huge database to show us. and look pretty graphically. And then they're also tying that into the development and monetization of their game, because or at least the marketing of their game, because it is one of the largest parts of their marketing is their roadmap. So they're trying to get it right, and it's taking a while to build it all out and make it look good. Do you think we'll see the Redeemer this year? I'm hoping so. I haven't heard anything confirmed, but I would hope so. I'm thinking about grabbing a base Endeavour in this the sale this year. I would expect it to not go up in price this year. Thoughts? Yeah, I don't think it will go up in price this year either. How did you get a Canadian Pico? I know, right? Little Pico boy. I'm Space Canadian. Yeah. Space Canadian, guys. I expect him to be more like Ugandan Knuckles, actually. That's the way he speaks. CIG have been more explicit about why they are delivering. Should CIG have been more explicit about what they were delivering with cargo decks in 3.11? Yes. They should have had a lot more detail of exactly what to expect, for sure. And that consistently, CIG is slightly too vague on certain elements and doesn't correct them. Like, I thought that there's going to be a load more gameplay with the cargo decks in 3.11 than there was. But I was also obviously expecting refinery decks, and refinery decks did have gameplay associated with them immediately. But they're now in 3.12. I mean, there's still some gameplay associated with 3.11, and there's lots of other stuff in 3.11, well, at least lots of little bits that they haven't mentioned, which I'm not sure why, which you'll see once, well, we'll talk about as soon as it goes to first wave PTU. How many people do you think the Mercury Star Runner will hold? I mean, it can hold quite a few. How many can it support properly? Probably like 5. You could probably deal with 5 in there. What's it actually say on the thing at the moment? What does it say? Interested to know if we can actually ever change our life support systems on a ship. It's got max crew of 3, but I would expect you probably get 5 people in it quite comfortably, assuming that the life support systems actually support that. Oh. A cheeky bit of Chris Roberts never hurt anyone. Trying to make me blush. I feel that I'd need to be paid something from CIG to allow for that kind of behaviour. What else have we got here? Is there anything on the horizon for EVA mechanics and jetpacks that have been removed? So, EVA, there's going to be push and pull. We're going to be able to pull ourselves along in EVA. They're working on that at the moment. And there's going to be, as part of the multi-tool module that allows you to move around more easily in zero gravity. And they also are building more missions with EVA in mind as well at the moment. Yeah, I'm hoping we get some more surprises in 3.11 beyond what I've seen in EVOCATI. As it's my birthday on the 10th of October, do you think they'd release the full game especially for me? It's unlikely. Have I ever tried grind to WoW? What? It is an AMA, I suppose. I mean, I didn't... no. I'm good at grinding in games, though. Is that what you were asking? No BoredGamer OnlyFans yet. Although, potentially, one day. Seems sensible to have an OnlyFans for me, doesn't it? DJ Brown, hope you feel better. Thank you, appreciate it. I'm just a little hungover. I've got to see the doctor soon as well about I've got a bad back at the moment. I need to test my cholesterol. Probably shouldn't have had a mixed grill today. What features do you think the carrot cam will have? I think it will look explorer-y. And it'll probably say, like, Ship Showdown or something on it. Do you think we'll see a new ship that we haven't had any info on October or November? Probably not something entirely new. Like, it'll be like something like the RSI Odin gunship, or it'll be the Xi'an cargo ship, or it'll be a mobile refinery. It'll be something probably that we already know about. And there are other ships they are working on beyond those as well, though, so... Do you think they'll ever increase the server cap to 100 or 250 players anytime soon? Yeah, so once they have server meshing in, they should be able to do that pretty comfortably. I'm interested to know what their implementation of server leveraging will be for Pyro, even if it's pre sort of server meshing. CIG has talked about the UI and updating it. Any idea when they're updating the ship UI? They've been updating ship UIs. There's been a lot of updates to ship UIs, especially in the last patch. You should see even more updates in this patch. Depends what you're talking about specifically ship UI-wise. Yeah, I'd like to see some hot spots in game, for sure, and some sort of like war zones and missions to get people to stay in areas and protect them for long periods of time. Because then, if you do that on planets, then you have people using ground vehicles to defend things as well. Yeah. Is anything coming for the CitizenCon announcement? This CitizenCon this year, or is it just a sales event? We don't know what's happening with the 10th of October yet. Obviously, CitizenCon was cancelled. They said they're doing something on the 10th of October instead. Should be, I would expect, much more minor. Obviously, they got the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo at the end of November. But 10th of October, I'm expecting 3.11 to go live, and some other stuff going on as well, but I'm not sure what. On the topic of new missions, do you think we'll see any new voiced mission? We talked about that already. Is anything coming for Citizen? We talked about that. Is CIG going to show a Squadron 42 video during the CitizenCon week? So I actually think that CIG, if CitizenCon had gone ahead 10th of October, I think they're going to start marketing heavily for Squadron 42, and actually talk, potentially release dates and things like that in a lot more detail. That was my hope, but I'm not sure what we'll see this year now. But I would expect to see a CitizenCon early-ish next year. Anyway, on the refinery vehicle, had an enjoyable mining expedition with friends, with 1 Carrack and 2 Rocks and 1 Pisces. Would have been great to have a prospect and a refinery. I know what you mean, like an actual refinery ship. So the earliest you'd see it is in 3.12, because that's when they're having refinery ships, or refinery stations. Although I would expect it a little bit later than that, almost certainly. I mean, in 3.11, you're going to be able to take minerals out of a rock and put it on the floor in your ship, so you can keep on refilling your rock effectively. That's pretty cool. Are going to be playing Star Wars Squadrons? Yes. Me and Zin will be playing that. Thoughts on Elite and Dangerous Odyssey? Elite Dangerous Odyssey looks cool. I'm certainly going to be checking it out. I do think it's not going to be... not going to hold my attention for long, would be my expectation. How long did you play Eve? From its actual release day, was it 2004? Did I start playing Eve in? When was Eve online? 2003 is when I started playing Eve. Jeez. And I played it for about maybe 5 or 6 years, and then sort of like took a big break, and then I've played it on and off since then. Yeah, It'd be amazing if we got the actual Redeemer released this year, wouldn't it? I don't know on their priorities for those sort of ships at the moment, because they haven't talked about them. We saw, obviously, some of the updated grey box state of the Redeemer in Fleet Week.
Love your content.
Thank you very much. I'm on design. Thank you very much for the donation. Very much appreciated. 3 stars. Thank you. So I'm not particularly... I'm even less entertaining than normal today. It's sort of like zonked out. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Goes a long way of paying Zin each month. Hey Board, I've been thinking about gameplay in the future. What do you think about archaeology sort of gameplay? 2 types, one the Indiana Jones adventure and something more akin to evacuation. Yeah. Oh, excavation. So I can certainly see missions to go and get an item, and it's in a dangerous area, Indiana Jones-esque style, and I can certainly see alien planets with like some of the other alien races. There's whatever they're called, Odyssean, whatever they're called, Odysseans. There's alien races and there's animals and things that are going to be intelligent, non-spacefaring, things like that. So maybe there'll be missions to go and steal their stuff, if you're a bit more akin to being a rogue, or steal eggs from dangerous aliens, things like that. That'd be cool. I like that sort of idea. No, so I'm not speaking in Spanish, Black Ox, but Enio, one of my mods, he is a Spanish YouTuber, and he does his stream in Spanish, and you could watch him, and he's a good streamer. I have a question. Looking at the game, so far so good, but the AI combat is what's holding me back from getting the game. Looking at some videos, standing still and throwing a grenade with 2 to 3 AI. Yeah, so the AI's trash at the moment. It just is, and it's sometimes that's because of the server, and mostly I think it's because of the servers are sort of like they degrade and the tick rates sort of not a stable 30, so the AI don't operate as intended. And you can see the difference when you're playing in against ship AI, when you're playing in Vandal Swarm or Pirate Swarm. They sort of like, for the most part, act pretty correctly, but the FPS AI, obviously, they don't exist in the game beyond the persistent universe. So wait a little while. Oh, the big penguin got deleted from the store. No, it was limited edition. I appreciate the mods deleting Leon Kennedy saying this game's a scam. However, I can take that over. How about you're an idiot? How about that? Why would you come into a stream that clearly like enjoys the game and does not think it's a scam? Why would you come here and say it's a scam? Why not do some research into the game and then attack it on points that are reasonable to attack it on, rather than just going, scam? Dumb! You are dumb. That's what I think of people like that, typically. Maybe you're not, but what you did was pretty dumb. Do you know when Pyro will open up? No, but I'm hoping that we get early Pyro in later this year. They have not confirmed that. They have not denied that. What they have said is like Orison and Crusader. They went, we're going to plan to release it Q1, Q2, 2021 for those sort of like major Stanton areas. That sort of makes sense because obviously Crusader, big gas giant. These are pretty in-depth landing zones. But Pyro is actually reasonably simple beyond getting the jump points in. So we've seen a load of work on those planets and moons. It looks like I'm wearing Chris's hair. There's a little bit, doesn't it? Can you please get CIG to put a Maori war canoe as a flyable ship? What? No. What sort of colour would you love to see for this year's Ship Showdown winners? Oh. I like greys, whites, blacks, and reds. Typically, I don't want too gaudy colours. I obviously quite like yellow as well. I don't think it merges very well. I like more neutral sort of colours. And then occasionally sort of like black accents on stuff. Do you know what the status of hospitals is? So they've been working on hospitals actually, and getting the hospitals and clinics as part of stations, but I'm not sure how far they are along with them. I do think it's something we will see within the next couple of quarters, though. What happened to the promise equipped vehicle in ship feature? That is something that should be here very soon. I'm hoping that we have that for the end of the year. That is something that they've said and acknowledged that it's super important. Do you own a Mercury Star on it? Yes. Which point X packs do you think it will be in? Hopefully 3.x.1. Shouldn't be too far off. People are... Why are you so angry, Mary Jane? I don't understand why you're so grumpy. Piss off, you filthy muggle. That's an insult I can get behind. Wow. You're not magical. That's basically what you've said to him. You're not magical. Wow. I like that. In your opinion, how long do you think before the game will finally go live? About 4 years. For the persistent universe, about 4 years, in my opinion. But for what they want to do. And I still don't think it will be finished by any means. I think that will be final reset. That's my expectation. But you can certainly disagree with that. Tony Morrow, thank you very much, sir. Beat the hangover with another beer. I'm assuming, Tony, you are my friend, Tony. Thank you for joining. Hi. We'll have to go out for a drink soon. I'm not going to have another beer. I didn't actually drink that much. We had basically a bottle of wine each. And I did have a pint of cider when I got home. Because I'm an idiot. Rum cider, though. Oh, wow, I mixed a load of different drinks together. Bored, a few years ago, Ben suggested the Hope might go on sale again. Do you think there will be a chance of CIG selling the Hope Discovery and Olympic this year? Preferably with CCUs. So I don't think you'll see CCUs for those ships, but I do think you will see the modules go on sale for them separately again, so you can purchase them, and potentially you'll see them sold as when appropriate mechanics are being talked about. You might see BAM. Got medical gameplay, the Hope hospital ships on sale, that sort of thing. That makes sense. It depends on what they want to do for marketing. Thank you very much, Fiora Knights. I appreciate the host. Every little helps, eh? So is the PTU out to Wave 1 now? It's not out yet. I haven't actually checked my feed. But it should be out within days. I'm hoping, and it looks to me like they're pushing for this weekend. So, when do you think Infiltration Mission showcased at Citizen last year will be playable? So they've been working on lots of different mission types and some UI sort of interesting things and investigation-y type things and more interactive missions. The exact mission here, I don't think we'll ever see it exactly as is here. It will be updated significantly. It will have different parts to it for sure. But as far as I'm aware, they could put it in game, a lot of this stuff now if they wanted to, or parts of it. So I'm not really sure when we'll see the expansion to some of these missions. Hopefully by the end of this year, but I literally don't know that. I don't have an inkling either. I know they're doing other missions. You'll see more and more missions into the game, but I'm not sure the precise order. Will Pyro have any landing zone? So it's going to have Ruin Station, and they are retconning some of the planets slightly. So you might see some potentially other stuff around in Pyro. But it's for the most part, it's basically just going to be Ruin Station is the only major location in Pyro that will have sort of like rearm, repair, refuel, and a station there. So speculations on medical gameplay. So it's going to come in stages. You're going to have people getting knocked down, injured, and bleeding out. So instead of insta-dying when your life hits 0, you'll be on the floor. You might be able to medipen yourself. You might be able to use an item on yourself to get yourself back up. People might be able to stabilize you. People might be able to drag you off and get you back up and stuff as well. We saw recently a medical gun that they'd been building, or at least it looked like a medical hypo-spray gun thing from Cure Life. So the sort of first stages of medical gameplay are going to be using medical items on other people, the bleeding out and more medical items that can be used, and then stabilization, dragging, and that sort of stuff of people. Eventually, that will move on to treating people with the right equipment based on their injuries, so expanding out the sort of injuries that they could have and where they are, and then needing facilities to treat certain tiers of injury. So they've got 3 tiers of planned sort of damage, minor injuries, multiple crippled limbs, and then near-death injuries. Based on your injury, you'll need to do potentially some form of mini-game or the right thing to help that person. What update do you have on iCache and server meshing? Not much. They're working on iCache. It looks like they're working towards having iCache integrated for the end of this year. We know that the iCache is sort of like an in-between step between the game databases and what's happening live in-game. And that should help significantly with the servers, with the tracking of data, with the consistency of data, that sort of stuff. Server meshing, they said that the last we heard about it is that they wanted to have it almost ready by the end of this year for its first implementation. But I think we'll see it for the first half of 2021. Does the new cargo stuff in 3.11 help or hinder load and online times for cargo running? If they have the cargo terminals at the cargo decks, then I think it would fractionally hinder it, eventually, but it will be more simple to get to, and eventually cargo decks will make a lot more sense once they have all the cargo gameplay going there. Yeah? Do you think the medical stretcher will quickly follow after they get the hand tractor working? I think it will it'll be part of medical gameplay later. I mean, they've got body dragging now. They probably don't need the medical stretchers and the drones for stretchers yet. About backpack mechanics, removing your massive backpack and putting it away in your ship storage before sitting in your seat. So yeah, you as part of sort of physical inventory and potentially sort of slightly towards physicalized items as well, you're going to be taking off your armor, putting it in your ship, stuff like that. You're not going to be able to carry everything on you. You're going to store it in different areas. So, do you think in the future there will be supply and demand for resources by shipyards to build ships and factories to make all other in-game items similar to like that of EVE Online? Yes, but there's going to be a layer of obscurity to it when it comes to that, because there's going to be a universe sort of simulation that deals with the sort of inputs. So once you take the materials to an area, it goes, we have these materials, nom nom nom, manufacture things. So those, you need the materials, and you need the sort of like delivery lanes clear to get these items between places, and then the items manufactured and then to the shops. And if you break the chain, then that's going to affect supply and demand and pricing. So similar to EVE in some ways, but obviously EVE is entirely player-led, almost entirely player-led, whereas Star Citizen is player-influenced with a big sort of like economy simulation on top of it. Has there been an actual announcement of a CitizenCon replacement this year with a date? So, CitizenCon was cancelled for October 10th. There's something instead on October 10th, and they have not announced the date of the next CitizenCon yet. What alliance are you in, if any? I run a BoredGamer org, which we don't really use yet, but I will in the very near future. I'm going to get Zin to sort of run that, and an org called Nomad Black, which will be very light roleplay, sort of living lawful fringes sort of areas, and it'll be like high risk, high reward type, mostly PvE type gameplay, but won't shy away from PvP. But I'm typically a lawful economy player for the most part. I refer to myself as probably lawful neutral. What ships you think we should watch for in the anniversary sale? Depends what you want, really, doesn't it? It's going to be like the last time to get certain ships cheaply, like the Banner Merchantman, probably. It depends on what sort of we want, though. Obviously, the Carrack's pretty strong. Oh, and as Max Power says, don't buy ships with real money, get them in-game. Yes, sorry, 100%. That is 100% correct. You should almost always get this stuff in-game now. And before, anyway. All you need is a starter ship. And if you want to, and if you've got a huge amount of spare money or whatever, make sure you've got a great rig first. And that your life's as good as it can be financially. And then buy ships with real money. I'm not your dad. You do fucking what you want. Thanks, and I appreciate you deleting people being, not being civil. So, just for people to know, I'm sort of fine with anyone having an opinion on most things. I try not to bring politics up much in my channel or whatever, because I think it's polarising. I mean, I'm not a political channel, so why would we? But I just want people to be civil. You can sort of like think the game. You cannot like parts of the game or whatever. Saying stuff that's demonstrably untrue to be inflammatory or to try and annoy people, like, haha, game is scam. It's like, what are you trying to do? And then, people trying to say that beautiful little Chris Roberts here is touching my bum bum. That's not happening. That's not happening either. Okay? That's not what's happening there. He's whispering cheat codes into my ear. Okay? And I like it. Thanks, Chris. Yes, that's interesting and all, but the true question is, will I be able to scissor aliens? No, you will not be able to scissor the aliens. As far as I'm aware. So you want to scissor aliens, Cyberpunk? I mean, there's no aliens in that, but why not? Do you think the two Redeemers would fit on the large pads on the Kraken? Yes, I do. Why do you think the Mercury Star Runner got pushed away 3.11 build? Because it's not ready yet. They were doing some more passes on it. It's simply that they want to do a bit more polish to it. I found a quarry on a Hurston with the PSL tagged on some kind of rock slabs. Do you know who branded these or what it means? No, I don't. I'm a secret EVOCATI, man. I don't think you know what the term secret means. Thoughts on the 100i series? Okay, so they're marketed as starships, but they're not starships. They're like the Reliance. They're second-tier starters. They're ships that you would go on to naturally, typically, after you've gone from your starter ship. So your Aurora MR or your Mustang Alpha, you'd go over to these naturally next, or the Avenger Titan, which I actually think is a better ship. I like the Avenger Titan more. However, as a shuttle, the 100 series are pretty good looking for shuttles. The 100i, relatively cheap, fast, fuel efficient, good looking, interior space, bed, cargo, missiles. It's pretty strong. Yeah, Star Citizen's very odd if it's a scam, because they're sort of like moon landing, going, well, pretend we go to the moon. How do we do that? We'll build a rocket that can actually go to the moon. What? Any guesses to what the mystery armor for 3.12 is? No. So yeah, it could be that Terra armor that we saw a while back that looked a lot looked very bounty hunter / Destiny-esque. It could be bounty hunter armor in general. That's what I thought it was. Some people have said maybe it's the Titan suits. Oh my god, please. That would be the best thing. You think water's a scam? What, like in real life? Is it confirmed that the Star Runner won't be coming up with the 3.11 launch? Yes. It is not coming with the initial 3.11.0 build. It's going to be in a 3.11.0, 3.11.1 build. Or a 3.11.x build. Probably 3.11.1. Why do you think they removed the PvP slider? Because the idea of the PvP slider is still staying to an extent, which is there are areas in-game which are low to no PvP. There are safe, secure zones, like secure space in EVE. Doesn't mean that there is no chance of PvP ever happening there. It just means that it's very unlikely, and you're afforded a huge amount of protections from PvP. And that makes sense to do. Because you don't want... Otherwise you need 2 sets of servers, basically. You know what I mean? Like, whole sets. Like going, well, I want to play PvE mode, but I also want to do cargo hauling, which is really high value through dangerous areas. You go, what? Yeah, a lot of people's free fly ships haven't disappeared yet, so, I mean, enjoy them while you have them. Do we know when we're getting Quidditch? I mean, Satterball. Ender's Game. No, we don't. Probably in the far future. In like a few years, they'll probably go. And now we can also work on Satterball again, but there's so much else for them to do. I do think the Star Runner skin will be in-game at the launch of the Star Runner. Potentially. I mean, it's a pretty simple skin. It's obviously not going to be a priority, though. But they have people that are dedicated working on skins, so... and liveries. Will we have space waifus? I mean, you can certainly roleplay it. And I suspect you can get crewmen that you like, but, I mean, there's not romance options as far as I'm aware in the game. Beyond your roleplay. I've not been in the game for ages, or tank's playable. No, so we don't have the Nova tank yet, but it is a something they are fast-tracking now, or at least prioritising, because they want it for Theatres of War. So expect to see it in the game in the not-too-distant future. Is the Terrapin or Polaris going to be designed next year? So the Terrapin's in-game now. And the Polaris... we don't know what's happening with the Polaris yet, but I would expect to see more on the Polaris later this year. What else we got? I also said 4 years. Do you think walking in VR will be in the game? I don't know about VR integration, although once they've got Vulkan integrated in the game, they can actually look at VR in a bit more sort of like planet. I think that we'll see VR gameplay for Squadron 42 natively and done pretty well, probably. That would be my expectation. In the persistent universe, I think it will have support, but I'm not sure to what extent or when. Chris and other high-level CIG employees have said there would be a hard wipe at beta, and then another one at release. Do you feel this is still the plan for Star Citizen? There's definitely going to be a hard wipe, and that will lead to a final wipe, but we're not 100% sure of exactly what's going on with that. I wouldn't say that this is, you're 100% sure that that's exactly what's happening, because they might decide that some point in beta they might go, and we're sort of live now. No more wipes. I'm not getting a RTX 3090. I'm getting myself a 3080. And I'm getting it sent to Zin. Zin's partner is going to be building me the PC and filming PC build. And we're going to be doing lots of different stuff. You'll see some cool Star Citizen stuff. With the help from Azatec, because they've helped me out a lot. And I'll be plugging them. For coolers, and I'll be making my PC look cool. I'm interested, actually. What I'll do is, after this stream, I'll be putting up some cases that I'm thinking of using. And I sort of want people's opinions on what case to get for my Star Citizen stash. Oh, it'll be the PC I use to record my Star Citizen footage on, to stream on, to do my work on. But it's also supposed to be a 4K Star Citizen gaming rig. Which I can sort of do now, but not high enough frame rate and not standardized enough to do it properly. The light makes me look weird on the top of my head. Yeah, it's got a shiny head, mate. Look how shiny that is. When can I swim in Lake Hurston? Well, you can swim now, you just will die. They will be adding swimming in the not-too-distant future. I would expect them want to get mocap first for that. Global lockdown makes that a little bit more restrictive, although they could hand key it, like they did with body dragging. I expect to see it within the next few quarters. Do you think there will be an extension to health play by having health insurance? Yes. I do think there will be insurances for medical insurance and stuff in-game. What's the new prison gameplay in 3.10 and 3.11? So, 3.10, got the commissaries working a bit more, but they're much more dispensary in 3.11, allowing you to dispense items and actually buy stuff with merits properly. There's some various missions in prisons, different ways to escape, or different changes in the ways to escape for prison stuff, and a load more laws. Should be pretty interesting for people. What do you think CIG is quietly developing and holding back for CitizenCon? My money is like the Pyro or Crusader Lighter Zone. Yeah, so I think they wanted to show off more Pyro. I think they wanted to really focus on Squadron 42 this time. But obviously that might have changed significantly, seeing that obviously CitizenCon was cancelled. What new ships are coming soon, TM? So, Xi'an cargo ship, I believe. Xi'an cargo ship, Odin gunboat. RSI Odin gunboat, mobile refinery ship, and then there's lots of other maybes as well. So when can I get you on an episode of Star Citizen Leaks, a non-leaks episode, just as a guest? We'll talk about it at some point. That's Hater or Execute. Message me, we'll talk about it at some point. I don't have much time to do anything, even my own channel at the moment, because I'm obviously looking after my dad, and been pretty rough recently, tired. But yeah, I don't have much time to do stuff. But I'm not entirely ruling it out for the future. I do need to get back and involved with the community. How do I get more FPS in game? My rig is quite good, but I get like 30 to 60 frames. Will there be an optimization patch soon? I don't know what quite good means for your rig. There should be more and more optimization from patch to patch, and once they have that Vulkan integration and their Gen 12 renderer stuff in, that should be a lot more optimized in my opinion. Any new updates to the ability to spawn parasite ships inside big ships? As I said earlier, I think that's something they're trying to get in for the end of the year. It's not a confirmation, but that was an expectation, and they sort of implied that a while ago. What will Vulkan do for Star Citizen? Mostly optimizing, ? So it allows for a lot more scalability and a lot more going on the screen, potentially, because they can then scale it much better in a more hardware-neutral fashion. So it should make stuff a lot easier for them to optimize as well, because as it's hardware-neutral, it doesn't matter that they have to separately optimize it for NVIDIA cards and AMD cards, sort of. It works potentially on Linux as well and things like that. So it's a lot easier for them, but it's also a lot more scalable. So, and the general Gen 12 renderer stuff with that should also make the game look better, perform better. Do you support a subscription plan for launch, or do you think a tiered system like EVE works? So it's supposed to be a pay-to-play game. Pay once, and you've got the game. In the future, I mean, I talked to Erin about this in 2017, I think, maybe 2018. About what they do monetization-wise for the game, and they said they wouldn't rule anything out. They'd do what's sensible for the game over the long term. So, I mean, that you could see potentially in the far future something akin to EVE or Plex or whatever. But I think they're probably fine with the way they do monetization at the moment. What they've said, which was, I think they still sell ships actually, but ship sales, at least game packages, selling their in-game currency in-game. So. Did you get any of the 30 cards as they sold out most instantly? Yes, I got a 30 AT. Has CIG indicated that we will see any other ship with the dark and moody alien Star Wars visual themes of the Reclaimer? No, they haven't specifically said that, but any other similar industrial ships would sort of have that mood. Hi, Bored. Hope the migraines have been kind lately. So, yeah, I've still got a bit of a headache, but I'm a lot better. My back is what's the problem at the moment, and the fact I'm slightly hungover. I require water. This is a normal-sized bottle. I'm just a little fucking hobbit boy. Will there be any more prisons than Clash in the future? Yes. Brandon, 1707, thank you very much for the donation. Love your content. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I appreciate the money, sir. Appreciate it. So, I'm going to get in on to play some Star Citizen on the weekend if we get 3.11 to first wave PTU. Do you think the 100i will fit in the Carrack? No. I don't think it will. I think it's a bit too big. I mean, it's pretty small. I think it might be slightly too big. Wait, okay. I think it will fit if you chickle it in. Let's be more specific, but I don't think it will sit properly. I'll give it a go in a minute. Oh, off the stream. Do you think the Kraken could fit the Caterpillar over the two large pods? Yeah, it could sort of land there. It's not going to be a proper landing. Space Waifu AI or Riot? Oh. We've talked about Vulcan already. Do you think the Polaris will go through another size change? It'll get little updates. Yeah, it'll be at least fractionally different. But the new way they build ships is they sort of, when they're concepting them, they sort of build out their internal space, so they shouldn't change much in size. It shouldn't change much in size if it does. Be like a couple of meters sort of thing. What else have we got here? I bought, and as we talked about that already. Will there be any more prisons other than Clash in the future? Yes. There'll be other planets and areas, yes. Maybe one per lawful system sort of thing. Do you think the advocacy will work in a similar way to Eve's Concord? Similar-ish, yes. I mean, they'll turn up, especially more aggressively in the more secure systems if someone's doing something. QT equal QT? Oh. Space vampires, yeah or nay? I mean, you can roleplay. There'll be some creepy things in space. Xenomorph-esque maybe in the future, or that sort of vibe. But I don't think you'll see actual vampires. No. Hi, Bored. There's a lot of talk about what isn't finished, but what elements do you consider pretty much complete, barring a few tweaks? I'm confused what you mean by that. The game is not finished by any means, still in alpha. Mining has a quite effective gameplay loop. Cargo hauling, the basics of cargo hauling work, but it needs a dynamic economy to support it, and loading and unloading times. So very little is complete in Star Citizen. Mining is the most complete gameplay loop we have. But again, needs a dynamic economy to support it and refinery gameplay. So nothing is complete. Nor should it be until near beta. I haven't really had a chance to play Dual Universe beyond a couple of minutes ages ago. I will be taking a look at Dual Universe. There's all talk about... we talked about that as well. I heard from a reliable source that Chris Robert is planning to sell Star Citizen to Sony and make a run for it. And yes, Sony will definitely fuck up like No Man's Sky. Well, I think Sean Murray largely fucked up No Man's Sky. And to his credit, also made it great later. So the original release of No Man's Sky, they had literally appeared to have told, and I'll say this for legal reasons, appeared to have told mistruths, in my opinion. They appeared to have lied about the multiplayer aspect of it when it was released, saying, players can meet each other. No, they fucking couldn't. But now, No Man's Sky's in a great position where they've kept his head down, worked hard on their game, and they've added loads to it, and it's got great multiplayer, and it's genuinely pretty fun game. So good on them for that, for sure. So I don't think there's a Chris Robert that works on Star Citizen. He may have an unreliable source. Star Citizen Brown Vitamin Gummies confirmed. Perfect. Any news about the Sandworm? So, Sandworm's on Layer 3, and obviously was a more sort of like set piece rather than a real Sandworm. Well, it was real, but it wasn't AI. It was just, it goes... That's what it does. Put that in game if you want, but it's not going to have AI yet. I mean, the FPS AI doesn't work great yet. So they are working on animals now for sure. But on Layer 3, we'll have that. Layer 3 is not a system they're working on anytime soon, though. What do you think CitizenCon will be this year? A bunch of YouTube videos, live stream. So CitizenCon is cancelled this year. On the 10th of October, they're going to do something else instead. But it will be a much more minor event, almost certainly. Might be like a sale, might be an in-game event, might be some community stuff going on. Could be some cool videos for sure. Considering that it's not complete, do you think ships like the Carrack, the Cutlass, and the Cutlass could still maybe have another path? I mean, there's certainly, all the ships in the game will certainly get little tiny minor updates. So that's like lighting passes, that's UI passes, that's materials passes, things like that. Yeah? And some ships will get a little tiny bit more than that. But I wouldn't expect to see any ships get huge reworks anymore. Yeah, I did. Did you not know I did the voice for the Sandman? It's my Sandman voice. Is Star Citizen not a game for solo players? You can play Star Citizen solo, yes. I would say that Star Citizen is best suited to group play, to organisation play. Even if you want to play solo, I'd still say join an org, because that with other players that are doing similar gameplay maybe, so you can share it like a network of information. Even if you're not going to be playing together, you can sort of like be sharing information and, you know, part of the Thieves Guild. Maybe the thieves don't work together, but they share information. So I do think it's best enjoyed with an org. For sure, and you can obviously find an org for yourself. You don't need to have an org already. You don't need to be like, well, I don't know any friends that have an org. There's orgs that will accept you, and you might have the best friends of your life from, sort of thing. So Star Citizen's great for that. When are we likely to see waves? What is this? When we like to see wave 1, you've actually put a wave emote, which confused my brain. So I'm hoping that we see it this weekend, but it should be within the next few days, whatever. Wave 1 PTU. Paul N, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate the monies. Thank you. Are you star? Jump Point was just posted. Ooh. Let's see what the flare is. Bear with me 1 second.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Why is Chris pulling a Joe Biden on board? He doesn't even have any hair to sniff.
Oh. Don't get political, Jadis. Okay? If Chris wants to sniff me, he wants to sniff me. So I'll just show the last page of the jump point, because I don't want to take away anything from people that have subscribed. So typically on the last page, they show off the flare for the next month. So it looks like potentially there might be a Navy surplus suit for in-game flare for next month. Maybe, not confirmed. Available in several styles, including service and dress. I actually really like military type gear like that, and I will almost certainly get these if there's variants of that, or if that's the flare. It could just be announcing that there's going to be a Navy surplus stuff in game as a brand, which we actually knew already because we've seen this brand being worked on in Inside Star Citizen. Doop. Yes. Are the jump points in game now? No. So jump point being the Jump Point magazine for subscribers. Let me tell you if there's anything cool in this one. So I do. It's one of the things that I think actually was worth subscribing for is the Jump Point magazine. It's pretty good. Vehicle experience team stuff. Developer interview. I'll have a look at that later. Looks what they've been doing to improve the vehicle experience. Trade industrial ships visual guide. The Thorshoe Craig crab, which is obviously got big crabs in Pyro. Neville's lot clearing, just a story, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so some interesting stuff. I'll have a look at that after the stream properly and see if there's anything I can put into the news. Right, what else do we have? Last year I heard about the Orion and it doubled in size, but I can't seem to come across anything really solid. Is there more info surrounding that ship? It doubled in size. It's big now. It's huge. Doubled in length rather than the size. So it's pretty big. But beyond that, we don't know much. Why two RTX 3080s? You know, that's what it's like. It's one for me and one for my editor. It's to standardize our systems. And we don't need the money to do that. But any donation money is going towards that. I always want people to know where donations go when they donate on the stream. It just sort of makes sense. Not a particularly big drive or anything. Just sort of want people to know that. Hey, Board. All the best to your dad. He's doing very well. My dad is doing extremely well. His radiotherapy on his brain was really successful. He's taken to his targeted therapy pretty well. And he's super lively and pretty happy, and the family's doing well. And we're taking every day as it comes, obviously, but we're very happy to have every day. So, do you think they'll do a very basic Drake starship in the 100i price range? I would like to see Drake starter ships or second tier ships, but we've already got so much of that in game now. You know what I mean? So probably not. Maybe one day, but probably not in the short term. We've got so much now. I mean, it makes sense that Drake would do that, though. The thing. Right. Thank you so much for the donation, Plastic Death. Thank you very much. I thanked Paul N, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I did. Thank you, sir. Do you think CIG may separate players, different servers, that have purchased ships with real-life cash from base start players, as to not have such large disparity between players at launch? I don't think so. I think they... I don't think the disparity between players at launch is actually that much of a big deal, unless they're 1v1ing each other in a dangerous area. But then you'll still have to worry about NPCs that have better ships than you there, and why would you be 1v1ing each other anyway? There's disparity... inequality is part of the game, whether that be an NPC, whether that be an org, whether that be a fleet. But the thing is that these more expensive ships are much more money sinky early on. So I think these huge fleets are like, oh god, they've got a huge fleet. Well, you and your starter ship is going to be able to. Well, you're not going to be losing any money by using your starter ship. It's going to be very quick and cheap and easy to run. You're going to be able to learn the game and become just as skilled as those other players while learning the game and tiering up naturally. What happens when you leave the tunnel inside the jump point? Do you leave the wormhole somewhere far away from the solar system? So we don't 100% know yet. They've talked about potentially you're quite far away from your destination where you need to be, or your ship might be damaged, things like that. But we don't know 100% yet because they haven't showed off what they actually decided. I mean, they might do it so that you can't technically leave the wormhole until you're out the other end, but if you collide with the sides, it damages you. I remember when they did that uniform thing on stream, and they should make it a subscriber thing. Okay, yeah. I vaguely remember that as well. Did they state that you can continue your military career in Star Citizen post Squadron 42? No, they haven't stated that. I think you have left the military by that point, but there should be military missions still. There should be, military as a guild, effectively. I'm pretty sure. Why would you pick the 100 series above the 300 series? Obviously, price. Yeah, so the 100 series, cheaper to run. that's probably the most thing. It might be more fuel efficient as well, smaller. Right. Expect UE Veterans Guild or something similar. Yeah, but also I do suspect that the military will want civilians to help them, and there'll be like a military deputizing sort of military. What's the name of the military force I'm thinking of? Like military reserves or whatever. Yeah, that will do. That want civilians to help them. For almost sure. Right. Yeah, it's military contracting and stuff like that. I'm almost certain that there will be mission line and reputation with the UE Navy. Watched a lot of your videos. This is my first time seeing you. I love to disappoint. Brandon, thank you so much for more money. I appreciate more money. Less guns means more juice for shields. Okay, yeah, that's true. They are doing lots of different changes in the near future to the power system, the pipe system, the way stuff gets converted in your ships, and physicalized components is going to change a huge amount. I think that's the thing I'm most excited about in the short term, that and the dynamic economy. I feel like I'll be back and have ever engaged in illegal actions that can be proven. Nice. They're outsourced missions for sure, but not the high security stuff. Yeah, that's true, probably, but maybe there will be some pretty high-level stuff. Maybe, I don't know. If you're like top-ranked in sort of military rep, maybe there will be some pretty cool military missions. What I'm saying. I know that, so like from leaks and close your ears if you don't want to hear this. There's sort of like military liaison officers working with civilian fleets to fight off Xeno threat that have big fleets that are going to go around locking areas down with like Idris and stuff. And that should be hopefully in the not too distant future. We'll have those sort of missions. And anyone can join in when they start. And that's what it appears, from the leaks that I've seen, that's what it appears they wanted to do with it anyway. They might have changed somewhat, but I suspect that is still the plan. In what year will ship elevators work 100% of the time? I don't know. Like, obviously, elevators in general working, breaking, whether they be ship elevators or elevators and stations, it's annoying when they break. I think it's something they'll probably get locked down genuinely, properly, very soon. What games are Metalhead confirmed? I like metal. I believe in God. I like metal. So you will go from a legal citizen to a full rating or more likely dead just to fire off a few shots. You're the best. Thanks. What? What's going on? What are you talking about? Oh, so the armistice zone stuff. So the armistice zones in the 3.11 getting removed. It's not 100% true. So space stations and the ports, they're getting... the armistice zones are becoming free fire, so you can open fire with your ship weapons in those zones, but locking onto a ship is like a hostile action, and they can engage you freely. And those stations have destructible turrets now, some of which can be up to size 10, so big old turrets. But you can effectively assault those stations and take those turrets out. They'll respawn every so often. I think that's still being dialed in. They're deciding whether it's going to be 5 minutes or longer at the moment. But there's also the security forces now are going to be a bit more dynamic and based on a heat system. So more and more security forces will come in, the more crime and stuff that's committing and more criminals that are in that area as a response to that. I think that's going to be really quite fun, pretty cool. But what reasons are we going to have to do that in-game beyond having fun and trying to make stuff that looks cool? Like, there needs to be missions associated with that. There needs to be reasons to do that for criminals. It was called the UE Militia Mobilization Initiative. The word I was looking for earlier was militia. Will the Mercury be bigger or the same as the Valkyrie? Well, we can have a look. Someone sent me more money. Brandon! Well, here's some more. Thanks. Thanks, Brandon. Oh, you star. Thank you, sir. Very much appreciated. I like money. I like you. I like the cut of your jib, young lad. The cut of your money. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at these ships. So what are we looking at? We're looking at 2 ships. What ships are we looking at? We're looking at... What did we say? The Mercury Star Runner and the Valkyrie? Is that what you said? Where is the Mercury Star Runner? I do think that Mercury Star Runner is one of my favourite ships. Boop, boop. Don't actually need to compare them. Oh, we did. I'm a dum-dum. So metrically, the Mercury Star Runner is quite a bit bigger than the Valkyrie. Wider, longer. Only a couple of metres longer. 10 metres wider. But I suppose the interior space, quite a bit of that is wing. And then it's a little bit taller as well. Yeah. Obviously the stuff like that, the Mercury Star Runner might change fractionally in size. Love the videos, please keep them coming. I will do. I wonder what version of Sandworm Tech they're currently on. They're not. They made that Sandworm briefly for the Gamescom demo or whatever it was. And they'll get back to it when they do Live 3, which will be a few years in the future, I would expect. It's not metal on my head, it's just a shiny head. Chris Roberts is making sure the ideas don't get out of my head too much. When are we going to get podcasts inside of Star Citizen? I would love to watch BoredGamer during some long quantum trips. Yeah, we'll start doing stuff like that. At the moment, I'm sort of like, me and Zin are finding our feet for Star Citizen content, looking forward to 3.11, and then getting ready for the last few months sort of rush that we have between now and when 3.11 goes live and December 3.12, because there's going to be like the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, there's whatever CitizenCon is instead of this year, because CitizenCon's cancelled, and we've got 3.12, there's a load of stuff. I wonder how many rocks will fit in the MSR. I don't know. I'm not sure what sort of suitability it has for vehicles getting inside. Probably max 2. That would be my expectation as well, if it can fit them. It's going to be weird based on the height and the ramp and stuff. Anything new for random encounters? We know they're building out more random encounter stuff and points of interest and assets for that, but exactly what and when, don't know. Will there be a distract the lore mission where you need to draw heat to a station for, say, like 10 minutes? That is what I would expect, yes. To make use of those heat mechanics and actually have reasons for people to try them out. But also, reasons for people to go to prison more often. Yeah? And they've got all these fleshed out systems now, and they need to incentivize people to do them. So they need to incentivize people to be criminals for reasons, people to counteract them for reasons, and then sort of like the risk and reward of going to prison. Yeah? 3.11 when? So I would expect 3.11 first wave PTU within days, hopefully this weekend. And then live build almost certainly looks to me like it's going to be for October 10th, where CitizenCon was, but it's cancelled, but we've got something else instead of. I was referring to having your YouTube channel being built into my MFD of the character. So it'd be interesting to see if that's what they allow that. If they can have embedded videos, if they allow you to go to web pages in-game, that would be cool. I'd look at the legality of it, but I'd look to do a Star Citizen casino where you could bet with Star Citizen money. But I do not want that to be... maybe that's a bad idea, because that would actually encourage people to gamble with stuff that's akin to real money. I'm pretty against gambling addiction, so... I quite like card games and slot machines and things in limited quantity, personally. But maybe that's a bad idea, because it is effective. Do you know what I mean? I like the idea of it, but I also hate the idea of it being abused. Especially if I was the one to create it and abuse it. Are you still going to be a news anchor inside Star Citizen? Yes! That's what I want to do. It's one of the main things I want to do. Will there be something like radio and television in game for longer travels? I think so. I think that's still the idea. Will the spacescaping change the gameplay forever with the potential of e-warfare, exploring, pirate and bounty hunter gameplay? They might be able to hide content in gas clouds. Yes, 100%. That's one of the reasons they've got them. They're interesting points of interest, but they're also going to cause interference and places that you can hide and find stuff in, explore. It's all interesting content and look pretty. You think there's still a strong chance of the iCache by the end of the year? I hope so. I was expecting iCache by the end of the year. Amazon cancelled your 380 order. Oh, 3080 order. I'm so sorry, Chris, mate. Ugh. They originally cancelled DC's and he was devastated. So, like, quite genuinely, he was like, oh, because we had spent a couple of hours trying to get them, and mine went through. And his went through before mine on the Overclockers website. Mine went through after his, but I got all my confirmation numbers and everything through, and he didn't. Yeah, so I'd love to play Texas Hold'em as well. Hey, Board. Hope Dad as well. When are we going to create the BoredGamer org? So we've got the BoredGamer org already created. We're going to start using it very soon. So it's going to be one of the next things I throw at Zin. We'll probably talk about it potentially this weekend, but next week, more likely. About how we're going to utilise the BoredGamer org, how we're going to utilise the social media and the Discord and stuff a lot better. And then work out a bit of a plan for that. And then start to get it organised so that we can actually do stuff in game. Because what I'd like to do is when 3.11 goes live, or to wider PT or whatever, get a load of people together to lock down a station in some capital ships. Yeah, a load of hammerheads, we go around, we blow up a load of stuff, we're fleet battle constantly with the police that keep on turning up. Cool. That will look amazing for footage, for B-roll, for gameplay, and see how long we can survive for. Yeah, and we'll say no respawns. Yeah, so once you die, you're done. We'll do things like that. Interesting battle royale mode. Yeah. Do you think that CIG will rush towards building new star systems after Pyro? I think they're building towards the Odin system, which is the system that's featured at least heavily in Squadron 42. Makes sort of sense that they're building towards there, because once they get there, they can go, well, actually, we've got the Odin system as well, almost ready to go for Star Citizen's Persistent Universe. So I think they're going to be working towards expanding out more systems, yeah, for sure. So the teams that build environments, they're going to continue to build environments for the most part. Some might move on to ships and points of interest for sure to flesh out what we've got more, but I do think they're working on expanding the gameplay area in lots of different forms, including new star systems. I don't know what. Let's have a look to see what card I actually got in the end. Bear with me 1 second. So I grabbed my stuff from Overclockers. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just like them. I did get that one. Yeah, so I got the... let me show you. So I got this for 650 quid in the end. Because when they originally went up, they were lower priced. And then they increased the prices. They crept up by 10, 20 quid every like few minutes when the website went live with the sales. But I got it at its original price of 650. And I got I'm a massive Gigabyte fanboy. Gigabyte have actually helped me out a little bit in the past as well. But that's so typically with any hardware things I've ever done, or any like I've reached out to the company, go, I use your stuff. Can you give me things? And so Azatec sent me like coolers and an Alienware PC and stuff that I'm going to be using to some of it to build a Star Citizen rig. And that's going to be helping out my company a load because we're using that as like a rendering machine as well now, or will be. Yeah. So I'm going to give a lot of love at Azatec and use their coolers. But it wouldn't matter if they didn't give me any love or anything, because I would have used their coolers anyway, because they're the ones I trust. And they, like, Rock and Azus and lots of other people use their pumps and water coolers and stuff. Who else do I shield for? I'll shield for others as well. I love them. Mwah. Yeah, that's the one I got in the end. A lot cheaper than the 2080 Ti that I have, admittedly. Is quid a gangster way of saying British money? It's just a term for pound. A single the pound. So 20 quid is £20. And it's Asus and AVGA fanboy. Okay, that's reasonable. So typically I like Gigabytes and ASRock. Typically what I fanboy for, but I don't really have huge amounts of brand loyalty beyond what is good review-wise. I'll look at what's good review-wise, what currently has good success rates, and currently has good customer support and all this sort of jazz. Well, customer support's not so important for me. The reviews and what's happening at the time is more important. I'm loyal to the numbers. I know we have a star map with 100 plus systems, but these are confirmed known systems that will be predominantly proc generated and handcrafted. So, okay, procedurally assisted is the way they're doing their planets. They proc gen a load of stuff on the planet surface, then they use painting tools to go over them at huge scale, and then they can go in and place outposts and stuff like that, or procedure generate them as well if they want to, whatever. But it's procedurally assisted because there's a lot of handwork that goes into it as well. It's not sort of like randomly generated. And in the future, maybe they will have some stuff that's explorable that is more proc gen, but for the most part, it's procedurally generated, and that's the way they procedurally assisted, and that's the way they want to do their planets. It's not millions and millions of planets. It's very much hundreds eventually, and to quite a high degree of quality is the idea. What else? I'll quickly go through any other questions, and then I'm going to take some painkillers and have a lie down. I did say I was going to do something after the stream. Case. I'll put up some cases. A poll for cases for my Star Citizen build. I was going to use one of JR Fabrication's Star Citizen crates, but they don't seem to do them anymore at the moment. At least I didn't see them do them anymore. So I'll do some more sensible case options. So the idea of the computer we're building is that I'm going to be using it to record Star Citizen and do my editing on. But I want it to be a repeatable 4K, so a repeatable build that's not overly expensive, that's sensible, that's sensibly priced for 4K Star Citizen. Yeah? And 4K gaming, but 4K Star Citizen for the most part. So it's going to be a repeatable build as well. So it'll be like, this is what we used, and there might be some I bought the more expensive version of this fan and cooler because I wanted it to look good, but you could actually do it with this fan and cooler at this price if you wanted to do it the cheapest possible option and stuff like that. So, sort of want to do something like that because I do quite like my hardware. I'm not super technical, but I'd say I used to build computers all the time. I've got a high level of knowledge, just not super mega technical. I'm quite untidy is the problem, so I'm probably going to get DC to do a lot of the build for me. Although, we'll see. It's better for them to film it anyway. Do you know anything about the NordVPN wizards? So I know that they have empowered my bank account with some sort of like magical number improvement. They're very good. I do like the Nord wizards. Board, do you accept Alpha UEC? Yeah? Send me Alpha UEC in game, BoredGamer. Send me Alpha UEC in game. Brandon, I was going to donate and ask a question, but I forgot the questions, so just take my money. Yes, Brandon, you are the best. Brandon's been chucking money at me because you've got questions. If you do remember what question you've got, Brandon, message me at contact@boardgamer.co.uk or go on my Discord, discord.gg/boardgamer, and message me. I'm happy to answer questions outside of the stream as well, obviously. I think, yes, I hope everyone is doing well and staying healthy and safe where possible. Wish they created some law that justified the human race moving to a small sector of space and blowing up blowing up the jump points to avoid annihilation from the Vandal. Oh, okay. I think you might see some isolated human settlements. I like that idea. Love to see BoredGamer UK delids. I'm not a fan of liquid metal. I think it corrodes stuff too aggressively. But you can just do it with the delidding tool. I'm not scared of that sort of stuff. I'm relatively savvy. I'm just a bit panicky. Like, I'm basically... I was trying to explain this to Neo last night, or Ari Neo, or however you say your name. I haven't... Ari Neo? I'm basically like a frightened little rabbit at most things. Or panicked. I panic constantly. But it does also make me hyper-aware. If you see me play, when we do it with a load of Star Citizen content creators Among Us, I am constantly panicked. Okay? But also... Even when I'm the imposter, I know how to act like I'm panicked because it is first nature to me. It's not second nature. It is my nature to be panicked at everything. Do you think it's a good time to start introducing friends to the game to play with? If you feel like you can entertain them, and the game is very much an alpha, and there's lots of problems with it still. It's not a sit down and play game. I would say that a game is probably better to introduce players to that. You know that they could have fun with if you weren't around. Yeah? So I don't think it's there yet. See what they do for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo at the end of November. Maybe that would be a good time, especially if it's a free fly again and with like an event going on. That'd be great. I haven't been playing for a while, but is 30k still a big problem? 30k is still a big problem, but they're significantly less. The current build for me is incredibly stable. But 30Ks are still a thing. They always will be a thing because they're just a term for disconnects, basically, when the client disconnects from the server. And that's always going to happen to some degree, but hopefully that will be fractional to a tiny percentage of the population of the game, very, very rarely when their internet goes down or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Quids does not equal bucks unless quids equals 1.28 bucks. Okay, awesome, thanks. Oh, Brandon, you don't need to give me any more money. Thank you very much, Brandon. You didn't give me any money anyway. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated, sir. I'm worried about saying things to you now, because I don't want you to keep on chucking money at me. I feel guilty. Not that guilty. A bit guilty. It's offset by the feeling of being slightly richer. When Squadron 42 releases, do you think that will mean they will... that the open verse updates will be efficient with better polishing, or the same team be working on updating Squadron 42 even more? So, I mean, there might be a triage team trying to get potential other bugs and stuff fixing that will be relatively small for Squadron. They do want to create Squadron 42 Episode 2 and 3, two separate AAA games, continuing on for Squadron 42, I believe. But the core of the game will be completed when Squadron 42 comes out, and a lot of the people that were working on Squadron 42 can work more on Persistent Universe things. Which I believe is the plan still. I think once Pyro's out, they will start pushing new systems like a McDonald's. Oh, so lots of stuff coming out rapidly. I mean, they're certainly going to be speeding up. They can't slow down. That's impossible. Is Theatres of War abandoned? No. I know they're doing internal testing with it at the moment. Expect to see tests probably in a month or two's time once they're happy with 3.11 being stable. I've ordered a 3080 Gaming X. Not received it yet. A lot of people that have ordered their 3080s are going to be waiting a week or so at least.
I am going to buy so many spaceships.
Love your videos, man. Keep up the good work.
Bradsaw, thank you very much for the money. Very much appreciated. I will try and keep up the good work with the videos, or the work that I'm doing with the videos, or getting Zin to make videos to my audio now. So hopefully we'll be able to put out quite a few videos. The dream is 3 videos a day at some point, or 2 videos in a stream a day. Eventually, that would be great. Good evening, bruv. Wave 1 PTU soon? Maybe next week, question mark? I think you could see Wave 1 as early as this weekend. But within the next few days, almost certainly, yes. Mine should be more of a gameplay how-to question. How do I see people... What? Mine's more... Oh, mine is more of a gameplay question. How do I see people making upwards of 10 to 50 million Alpha UEC? I've done mission after mission, only gaining upwards of 100,000 in a weekend. So the best way of making lots of money, mining with the rock, all the prospectors, pretty good. If you do it right, Contanium in certain areas, or cargo hauling, you can leverage huge amounts of money. Do you think there will be more landing areas added to ArcCorp, or will they be expanding the size of Area 18 to give a better sense of it being I can't even say that. Ecumenopolis? Ecumenopolis? I can't say that word. I don't know what word that is. Yes, they'll be adding more landing areas to ArcCorp, or areas to do business / missions / rooftops you can go in, and buildings you can go in there. I believe that's still the plan. Do you think the Taurus will come out in 3.11 as a secret drop? I think the Taurus will probably be in 3.12. Long term, do you think CIG will make the Endeavour biodomes be able to be unloaded and become agrodomes outposts? Oh, I like the idea of being able to deploy them. I love that idea. I don't know, though. I love the idea. Can you do a stream as a hologram like those in New Babbage? I was talking to the woman that did the voice and model for that on Twitter the other day. She watches the latest Star Citizen videos. She's a proper geek as well. What are your thoughts on Apex Legends sound issues this season? I follow sound to find people. It's been horrible lately. I feel like I should wear my headset upside down and backwards. I haven't noticed that many problems with sound, but I am partly deaf in my left ear. So I use sound a lot less than other people do. I use it to say there are people near me. So yeah, I haven't had the same sort of problems because I don't notice them in the same way. It probably makes me better because everyone else is having problems and I'm having slightly less problems because I don't use audio as much. Right, I am going to be dashing off. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know we just talked shit, basically, about 3.11 and some of the stuff coming for the rest of 2020. But I appreciate it. I will be putting a poll up later today about cases for PC, for what you'd like to see for my Star Citizen build PC. Although the case isn't that important for the actual build. You need a case for a PC build. But what I mean is that people could use other cases if they wanted to. A case is a case, for the most part. Maybe. I mean, you know what I mean? If you want to do it cheap, you do it by a cheap case. You want an expensive case that looks cool, you buy an expensive case. As long as it suits your needs. Do you think we'll have O'Neill Kleiners or Dyson spheres and black holes in Star Citizen? So O'Neill thing, are they from Stargate? Are they what the Greys, the Asgard named stuff after O'Neill? Is that what you're talking about? Dyson spheres, so black holes. There's definitely a system with a black hole in it. Dyson spheres, I'm not sure about. I suspect they'll be talked about. We've got a synth world that they've been building, which is obviously an artificial planet. And I'm not sure what the O'Neill's Sinlers are. I'm not even sure what those words are. I haven't seen Stargate for many years. Best place to show new players and friends. I plan to spawn a small ship and then work up to my character. Go to start at New Babbage. Start at New Babbage. Best place to spawn, in my opinion, still. And go up to Port Tressler, fly around, mess around, then do a load of the missions. Load of cool missions spawn there. You can do the 890 jump assault mission. You can do the Price of Freedom mission. There's a load of missions that are there that you have access straight away to. So Do you expect all the ships included in Squadron 42 to have functional features, or they fake it? They can fake it, but you're going to be flying for the most part in Squadron 42 single-seater fighters, I would expect. So, will there be sequels to Squadron 42? Yeah. So there's Episode 2 and Episode 3, which are going to be fully featured AAA games, I believe, still. Synth World. Synth World. Oh, damn. Excellent. Right. You distracted me. I said I was going. I'm going. We're going to find someone to host. Right. Who is actually online? Oof. I've got a bad stomach. Not great. I think we got a all devs today. I think maybe, potentially, probably. Who do you want? Who do you want? Moist Noodle or Maya? Putting Ward, Vulcan. He again. Who do you want? First person to say one of the things. Silly questions, but release date thoughts. So for 3.11, expect to see first wave PTU within days, hopefully later this weekend. Live release almost certainly. I think they're pushing for 10th of October. Moist. I'm going Moist then, Jadis. Cool. Going Moist Steel. And then Star Citizen sort of like final reset. About 4 years would be my expectation for Persistent Universe. And for what they want to do. That's what it looks like to me. Right. /raid. Moist Steel. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's very much appreciated. Thank you very much for all the donations and the money, especially yourself, Brandon, 1707. You got a number. I don't know why you put a number associated with the name. Maybe there's a story to that. But as I said, if you think of a question you want to ask, message me. That's the same as anyone. You don't have to send me money to ask me questions. It just makes me happy when you send money. Have you got something you want to say, Chris? Yeah. Do you want? No, you don't want to say anything? Oh, Pico, you want to say something? Yeah, like and subscribe to BoredGamer. He's the fucking best. I'm Pico. I'm a penguin. So, as Pico says, make sure you donate kindly. Like and subscribe. Become a BoredGamer member for the join button. Or the Twitch sub button or whatever. Just give me money. Do you think this is free? Think I play games for free because I'm your performing monkey? Well, yes, I do enjoy it and I appreciate you being here. And whether you give me money or not. Thank you. Genuinely, thank you. I love what I do. And I love the fact that people watch me. And I hope that I provide some semblance of news and ways of getting into Star Citizen and helping you digest that information that you wouldn't otherwise have got. So, as I said, thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Stay safe. Stay sane. Message me if you want to ask a question. And we'll be playing Star Citizen on stream live soon. Maybe on the weekend. 11.0 comes out. Woo! To first wave. Hopefully.